So today we're going to be talking about exactly why, as you see from the title, why do 99% of entrepreneurs never make it? And you always see in those, Instagram comments, YouTube comments as to, oh, he's a scammer, he's a course seller, or blah, blah, blah. And nothing's inherently wrong with these because if you really strip them down as to what is a course seller, right? Someone who sells information. Same thing at universities, but no one ever called the university a scam. Well, I do, but that's a completely different topic. So the original reason as to why people say that you're a course seller and it's some sort of derogatory term or you're a scammer, etc., because no one seems to find successes with the pursuit of running the business that whoever they're following. Let's say you're trying to become the next Togi. I don't know if he's going to be popular within the next couple of years or so, but Togi, again, he's a trader or whatever, and if you don't find success with trading, you're going to call him a scammer or something. Well, it's not his fault, and it's completely your fault. Let me tell you exactly why. So the reason why that 99% of people fail is that it's a very simple reason, but I've dumbed it down to one simple fact, is that people learn, but they never execute. And it's learning, execution, and presumption. I'm not sure the exact word, but pursuing. Keep on going forward. So if you're missing one of these, you'll never become successful, right? Now, me personally, I'm not successful. I've had my successes in this past. If you go back to when I started YouTube, I've made a lot of progress in these past almost 7 months or so since I've rebranded what I've been doing originally as a copywriter and started as an advertising agency. But now, especially I've found a lot of success in this past month or so in regards to business and everything. And it's the main reason is because I don't fail on any of these, which is learning, executing, and repeating what I do, pursuing what I do, even if I find mistakes or I don't give up, I don't lose discipline for what I'm doing. So let's say if you don't learn, but you have the drive and you have the execution, well, you'll just always get level 0, right? It's like a plane, right? If you're just a plane that's moving at flat plane, you're not learning, so you're not elevating in any sort of way. You're just moving around on the track. You're not going anywhere. You might land a client, maybe it depends on what industry you are. It could be e-com or whatever, but if you're, let's say for me, you can maybe land a client or two, but ultimately you'll just stop landing clients and eventually just fizzle out after 3 to 6 months due to the fact that, you don't have any learning inside your mind, which influences you to become better, if you know what I mean. Now, there can be the next option, whereas you learn so much, but you don't execute at all. And this is where so the first one was around, I think 25% of entrepreneurs struggle with, which is they don't learn, but they are always executing and pursuing. So they're always doing the same thing, menial thing over and over again. That was me, to be completely honest with you. This was me a little bit for about half of the summer, where I was always doing something related to my agency. I'm not saying I wasn't productive, but I was always doing something related to my agency, but I was never learning something new, like doing SMS texting, learning about my niche, etc. And I was just always outreaching and everything. And I think I even remember back when about 6 months ago, I was always saying, oh, I did 100 outreaches today, etc. And then now that I'm thinking about it now, I'm just seeing, why was I doing that in the first place? So we had to roll that back, and there was a cut there because I just moved a bit of a location because of the light. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I think around 20 to 25% of entrepreneurs who don't make it in business are the ones who they don't learn, but they execute and they pursue. So they have discipline. That was me for about 6 months ago, but I've changed. And especially since I've joined communities and networked a ton, I've learned so many new things that I would not have learned way back when. So a main thing to fix that, which is the learning and not learning phase, is to join networking groups, join people who are doing the exact same thing, because you'll learn something new. And join people who actually are doing the thing, and don't say that they're doing the thing, but they're not doing the thing, if you know what I mean. You don't want someone who says they're trying so hard to make it in life, but in reality they're just playing video games all day. You can see their status on Discord. But anyway, I'm not attacking anyone with that. You know who you are. But whatever. Second point, which is the most common reason why people fail, is they learn, but they never execute. And I say this is around almost 50% of entrepreneurs, and or I say around 40% of entrepreneurs. And the main point is that they always learn specifically to that niche. I've never seen anyone who has learned outside of the niche immersion, which is basically just learning about your niche over and over again, your specific, learning about, I've never seen anyone who learned about their own niche. Like I'm an agency owner, I learn about agency things, but they never learn about anything outside of agencies, such as their own niche, what they're working with, healthcare, for example. And I see a sort of pattern with that, and it's generally people who do not work, and well, they don't work. They learn, but they never cut. They learn, they execute. They learn that they do not execute. Yeah, okay. So people who learn, but they never execute, and this is a problem that I see a lot of people get trapped in, and that's the reason. The reason why this is because they're afraid of what other people are gonna say, or opinions. They have doubt in their mind. Listen, at the end of the day, I used to be the same person where this was way back when, even before I started this YouTube channel, where I would have like doubts in my mind. Oh, is it gonna work, etc. And I can't really give advice for this because I've gone so far from that point where all I do is work. Like, there's no exaggeration with this. And people who are watching this video in the beginning, before this gets viral in the future, can attest to this, that all I do is work, all I talk about is work. And I've come under the mantra to understand that what else would I do besides work, right? You could play video games, but I'm too old for that. I'm 17. I don't really have, I've got bills to pay next year, right? So, and films, I'm not really a big movie person. Just fight your own poison is all I'm gonna say. And all the advice that I'm gonna tell you is just think about whether you play video games or whether you don't play video games, the time is going to still pass, and you might as well just do something meaningful that you're going to reap the results after 2 to 3, 4 weeks, or even 2 months, 3 months, whatever. Point being is everything's a learning experience, and all I can say is just execute on what you're doing. So that's step number 2, or I say that's around 40% of entrepreneurs, and I say maybe 10% of those 40%, so around 4% of total entrepreneurs, get out of that struggle and actually make something of themselves in their, maybe land a client or two, buying their mom something nice, etc. And the last but not least is people who learn, people who actually execute, but people who never do it consistently. And I think this is around 30%, so we have this is around 40%, so it's around the same as executing and what's the word? Staying consistent. And it's basically two sides of the same coin, and the best thing that I can describe to you is the way to know whether you're on that last step and whether you're in that category or not is whether you find any meaning behind watching motivational videos. So back then, around 9 months ago or so, or 9 to 10 months ago, I used to really love motivational videos. I used to listen to them all the time, but it got to a point where even when I was scrolling on TikTok and Instagram or whatever, back when I was really into that, I would just scroll by because I just didn't find any meaning behind it, because the point of a motivational video is to motivate you. But if you never rely on motivation, then what's the point of watching it? You feel you should always have discipline within you to move on to the next level, etc. And when you don't need it, then just have discipline inside of you. And this can attest to everything. It's not just business specifically, but you can test this to homework, school, etc., your work, your job, anything, your employment. Some people don't have employment, but whatever. Point being is that 99% of entrepreneurs who say someone's a scammer, say someone's this, say someone's that, it's all just labels. And the people who truly make it in life, the people who are an inspiration to others, such as I always attest to, but Eman Gadget, Andrew Tate, some crypto guys, I don't really know any of them, but all of them had one thing in common, which was they never failed on those three specific things. And if you failed in life, if you failed in your business or failed in whatever, I'm talking specifically for business because that's what I'm in, but you can attest this to other things. If you failed in that sort of vertical, then you need to understand that you're missing one of these three component things. I can guarantee you that you're missing one of these three things, and your job is to fix it. So what I want you to do right now is, I never really give call to actions after videos because, I never do them personally after watching videos, but maybe some of you guys might find some use to it. You should write down all these three things: A, learning, B, execution, C, discipline, and figure out which one you lack in the most. It doesn't matter if all of them are the best right now. Like, let's say you are the best at executing, the second best at learning, and third at discipline, and there are very close margins. You should always focus on the one, no matter how short it is or no matter how good it is, you can always improve it to a higher baseline. So, and it'll correspond to other aspects as well. So it'll involuntarily increase those aspects of it. Trust me, I've gone through this process as well, and I've come to realize that it's a really, really good strategy. So there's no link in bio, there's no nothing. Stay safe, learn something new, and learn, execute, and discipline. And I can attest that you guys will make it under the will of God. I'll see you guys later.